I'm in my 40s and I've been studying Japanese every single day for the past 21 months. Well, technically, it's now been 2 years since I've started and I had to re-record this part as I've been sitting way too long on editing this video. Anywho, talking about months studied without hours put in is pointless, so we will cover my stats. Of course, we'll talk about every single piece of media I have read, listened, or watched in the 3 months leading up to the 21 months. Also, in a previous update, I've decided to try JPDB.io as my primary way of learning vocab and kanji, and that had some interesting results. And we will discuss my progress, successes, and struggles, and hopefully give you a realistic idea of progress you can make if you put in a lot of consistent effort over the 21 months time. I have said it before, and I will say it again. It is irrelevant to talk about months or years studied without talking about the actual hours you have put into learning the language. And so, 21 months in, here are my stats. So this is for the last 3 months. A total of 511 hours, active study of 175 hours, with that kanji being 15 hours, vocab 130 hours, speech accent 19 hours, and grammar 11 hours. Immersion was 366 hours. Listening 177 hours, visual novels 137, and reading 20 hours. Again, I separate visual novels and reading because visual novels you get listening and reading at the same time. All of that daily average was 5.56 hours. As I have not started tracking my stats on Toggle Track from the very beginning, overall stats are in the old format. So in the past 21 months, I have studied a total of 1,987 hours. Yep, I'm at the coveted, by some, 2,000 hours right now. Active study is 739 hours and immersion 1,248 hours, with a daily average of 3.1 hours. By the way, that has been climbing steadily. This is almost half an hour increase of the overall daily average from the last update. So let's quickly go over all of the media I have engaged with in the past 3 months. This only includes things that I have either completed or dropped and does not include things that I'm in the middle of. This is a chunky boy, so feel free to skip it if you do not have interest in it. We'll start with drama. I watched Tasadoro Hyoko. Hyoko is a morning drama, meaning that each episode is 15 minutes long and there are over 150 episodes all together. The setting is post-World War II Japan around the time of Japanese Summer Olympics. Highly recommended. It is a lot of fun and the vocab is very easy. Next, we watch Cherry Magic 30 Years of Virginity Can Make You a Wizard. It is a rom-com with a twist. Really enjoyable, highly recommended. We'll move on to movies next. Cherry Magic 30 Years of Virginity Can Make You a Wizard. It is a follow-up to the drama. It is not good at all. I did not enjoy it. It retcons a lot from the drama, and the dialogue, well, not the dialogue, but the script is not very good. Finally, from the movies, we watched Yojimbo. Yojimbo is an Akira Kurosawa movie. It's a classic. Just watch it. 2 caveats. 1, the sound, even though it's better than older Akira Kurosawa movies, still not as good. And 2, all the dialogue, like all of the dialogue in Akira Kurosawa, is extremely natural, meaning that there's a lot of mumbling and talking under their noses that is going on. So it's hard to parse. Next, anime. Vampire Knight. Fantastic anime. The premise is that it's an academy where both vampires and normal people study together. Vampires study at night, normal people study during the day. Everything that might happen because of that happens. Just watch it. It's a lot of fun. Next, Nana. I've actually watched it twice. Once on my own, once with my partner. I enjoyed it so much. It is a slice of life drama about 2 women called Nana. Same name, no relationship whatsoever. Or at least until they meet. So it revolves around building up a rock band. Really enjoyable. But slice of life is a little bit of a misnomer here because the dialogue is actually quite advanced. So be warned. Next, Yuri on Ice. It's a drama about figure skating. If you like figure skating, watch it. Fantastic anime. Finally, I have watched Starship Troopers 1988 edition. It's based on a book by the same name by my favorite author, Robert Anson Heinlein. A favorite sci-fi author, should I say. It's not based on the Hollywood movies, which were not to my liking at all. If you like the books, you will like the anime. If you like the movies, you probably will not like the anime. Next, podcasts. First, Teppei and Noriko. I have dropped it after 300 episodes. You might see the pattern here. I do not like Nihongo Kon Teppei in any way, shape or form any longer, and I cannot recommend it. I do not think there is a lot of thought that is being put into the podcasts, and I just do not recommend it to people. That's it. Done. Next podcast is fantastic. It's called Kanji o Manabo. Unlike the name, let's learn the kanji. It's actually a podcast of 2 parts. There are about 200 episodes of Mukashi Banashi, Japanese folktales, and about 100 episodes of Kanji o Manabo. So the Kanji o Manabo is about a foreigner who comes to Japan and studies in Japanese school revolving around the kanji. But the Mukashi Banashi is, of course, Japanese folk tales. Fantastic to learn the culture. Super easy to parse because every single character is voiced over by a different voice actor, and there are sound effects as well. Highly recommended. One word of caution, there is a lot of high-pitched screaming there, so be warned. Let's cover visual novels next. First, I've read Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, the original first visual novel/game. This does not include the latest story that has been added only recently. It's a courtroom drama, a lot of fun. Just do it. Next, I've read Narcissu 1 and 2. It's a visual novel concentrating, or the story is about terminally ill patients. So hard in that regard, but very interesting to read. Next, Nanaya Reincarnation. Mixed feelings about that one. It's sort of a mix between supernatural investigation and hentai. I was hoping there would be less of the latter and more of the former. Unfortunately, that was not the case. Next, I've attempted Planetarian and its prequel and dropped it. While I have enjoyed the idea of it, it's just the walk-up is way too hard for my level right now, and of course, not really relevant for my studies at the moment. I will come back to it. I also read Aokana, which is sci-fi slice of life. I've dropped it after a couple of hours because I was bored to tears. Next, manga. I've read manga called Aqua, sci-fi slice of life. Highly recommended. Finally, we go to miscellaneous things. First, YouTube. I've watched quite a bit of Rui Soncho. It is basically an Inakagurashi channel, so life in the boondocks of Japan. A lot of fun. Also, I've watched quite a lot of World Rally Championship with Japanese commentary, about 45 hours worth, as a matter of fact. That concludes all of the media consumed. So, 3 months ago, I have gone from not doing any SRS or flashcards experiment to trying out JPDB and been using it ever since. If you want to hear about my learning through immersion only, you can watch my previous update. This is not meant as an in-depth review of JPDB. I'll probably create a separate video for that. And if you're wondering what JPDB is, well, you're probably already familiar with it if you use the Yomitan extension. It's a frequency dictionary, but also it's a Japanese dictionary. It's an integrated flashcard and SRS for learning words and kanji. It has auto-generated decks for various media with approximate difficulty ratings. It also makes a bold claim that its kanji and components meanings are better than HiSigs. More on that in a moment. So the way I have used it was to pick a visual novel, manga, or book to read, select an auto-generated deck from the JPDB, and let it feed me the most frequent vocab, sorted by the whole of the JPDB corpus, by the whole of their database. So on a positive note, you learn kanji in context. You start with sort of a letter. So JPDB, what it does, it looks at whether you know the word. If not, checks if you know the kanji. If not, it checks if you know the components, and then teaches you the components first, then the kanji, and then finally the word. And of course, includes the example sentence for the word. So each step up the ladder reinforcing the previously learned information, which is fantastic. It also addresses one of the biggest issues I have had personally with Anki, where my brain would just remember the sentence instead of the reading of the actual word. JPDB has an option for randomized example sentences. Fantastic. So, to give you a little bit of a background, I have spent previously 6 months learning Kanji through HiSig, and you can check out my 6 months update or all the details on that. Then I attempted to learn it through KKLC for a number of months, and I've also tried Vanikani along the way as well. Now, I chose not to import any of my cards from Anki. You can do that if you want to. This would have complicated things, and because I didn't really know how to read a lot of the words, I didn't want for the JPDB to think that I know something that I didn't. So, as of 3 months in to this experiment, according to JPDB, I have 900 kanji roughly learned and just over 3,000 words. This is box, of course, a mix of new words and the ones I have known previously, but not necessarily was able to read. Right now, I can read all of those words and write out the kanji by hand. This is serious progress for me. As of right now, most of the new cards are split between kanji, which is about 40%, words I know and I'm not able to read, about 20%, and words I do not know, another 40% or so. And yes, that does mean I was taking massive amounts of cards daily trying to catch up to where my current level is in terms of vocab. Of course, you do have to understand that a lot of those words I either already knew fully or knew by hearing them, but not being able to read them. Of course, it's not all great. There are some issues with JPDB. There are quite a lot of issues, as a matter of fact. I won't go into all of them, but here are the biggest ones. The pre-made decks are auto-generated, right? So they are algorithmically created from the text. So you encounter a lot of one-more words where the English meaning given is completely different from the one used in example sentences. That's a problem. Also, even though it claims to have better meanings assigned to the kanji and components than HiSig, they do seem to be assigned for specific use cases and can really break down when applied to the words they're not designed for. But it's also suffering from the same issue as the HiSig's method, where similar words are assigned to different kanji, and trying to remember the different kanji is just a bit of a joke. So for example, a kanji for certain and a kanji for certainly. Yeah, good luck with that. And this is just one of numerous examples. And of course, one of the biggest issues, it's on a website and not available offline. So, you know, we had Cloudflare outages recently affecting the whole internet. Well, JPDB was one of the sites affected. Yeah, so think on that for a moment. So overall, it is an SRS system. It suffers from the same issue Anki does, burnout. The algorithm demands you study every single day, and if you do not, your load doubles. Similar feelings as towards Anki, but not as bad. And here is why. I am doing active recall on the kanji, so instead of just learning the readings, or to read the kanji, to recognize it, I am learning to reproduce it. I actually write out every single kanji physically when I encounter the card giving me an English meaning for it. But I only do recognition of the words, so when I encounter a word, I try to read it, and of course understand the meaning of it. This gives some variance, and that seems to partially alleviate these issues, these dark stormy clouds on the mind's horizon, right? It makes it a little bit more bearable and interesting. So, also, the philosophy of JPDB, from the get-go, it tells you you do not need to finish your full review stack by the end of the day, and as a matter of fact, it pops cards into the pending reviews throughout the day. So most days you're actually left with a bunch of cards accumulated by the end of the day, which is totally fine. But this is also where the problem lies. So in Anki, there is an option that you can do new cards before the old reviews are completed. There is no such option in JPDB. So unless you clear your review stock completely, you are unable to take in the new cards. So we have this weird situation where on one hand, JPDB tries to convince you very hard you do not need to do all of your cards in one day, but on the other hand, it stops you from getting new vocab if you do not. So the mechanics here do the opposite of the intended effect of using any SRS or flashcard system only as a supplement to your actual engagement with the language, specifically reading, but also listening. So yeah, it's weird. It's weird. Personally, I don't mind that. I do try to clear my stock fully and then take some cards, new cards in, but it goes contrary to the stated philosophy of JPDB. So do not worry about not finishing all of the reviews daily. So I thought it was important to point that out. But in conclusion, while JPDB definitely has issues, and I haven't spoken about all of them here either, it also has some major positives. And having tested this now for 4 months, but let's say 3 months, since we're talking about my 3 months, 21 months progress, whatever, JPDB had the biggest impact on my ability to read Japanese out of everything I've tried so far. I do attribute it to its core philosophy of learning kanji in context and through creating a positive feedback loop of reading, learning kanji, learning words, rinse, and repeat. Talking of reading, having read for 157 hours in the last 3 months between visual novels and pure reading, this part of my Japanese learning is again seeing the biggest gains. So while I'm not tracking exactly my reading speed, that has seen an improvement. I did have a bit of, let's say, a desperation moment where I would read visual novels and hate my time with them. And I would tell myself that this is the most optimal way to progress my language. I did make a decision at that stage to drop anything I'm not enjoying, and so far that has been working out pretty well, as a matter of fact. So optimal way is the enemy of progress, in my opinion. Overall, I feel that reading has been one of the biggest factors in my progress in the language so far. So I do recognize more words and grammar patterns both while reading and while listening. And I would attribute that to the fact that your brain is forced to try and figure out actively what is going on the page, unlike with listening, where it is so easy to go from active to semi-tune out passive and back again multiple times, even in the space of a standard episode of drama or anime. As for listening, I know my comprehension is slowly increasing, but it is very hard to pinpoint by how much. I have completely stopped engaging with made for learners, so comprehensible input podcasts and YouTube channels. So switching to only content made for native speakers is most likely the culprit here. But you do come to a point after more than a year and over 500 hours of listening to the same old stuff where you simply must have something that is actually interesting to you. So on a positive note, I feel I can recognize more words now that I have encountered through flashcards. So I have less of a situation where I know I should know this word but simply can't remember its meaning. And I genuinely think that combining flashcards with large amounts of reading and listening has helped me a lot with that. So as for speaking, we tried to have a 30 minutes daily speaking session with my partner, and that didn't really work. So instead, we're going for speaking Japanese as much as we can on a daily basis throughout the day. That does work much better, but still have English everywhere. I'm glad that we're doing it this way. I am seeing some progress happening with my speaking ability, but a lot of times it seems that I'm trying to grasp for words and make strange sentences, and while my partner corrects me, I understand exactly how her sentence is better and why it's correct and why I have made the mistake, but at the moment I'm trying to make a sentence or I'm trying to convey my thoughts, it doesn't seem to be helping. I'm still making similar mistakes every time. This always happens when I try to express more complex topics with longer, let's say, run-on sentences. The day-to-day simple stuff, well, is simple, especially when you can get away with short, simple sentence structures and words you already master. Talking about speaking, we have to mention pitch accent. I have been going through the pitch accent course and been doing a few bits and pieces, so the approach I have taken from the beginning is to watch and listen to the information about pitch accent, but don't try to actively memorize things. Instead, trying to get the general idea of how things work. And even with that, there are so many rules on top of the rules. Once you're past the fundamentals, that is absurd to think you can simply memorize them all and just reproduce them magically correctly. Recently, it felt more and more like it's just pointless, especially the phonetics, as they're very much English speaker-centric and specifically actually American speaker-centric. Also, hearing doggone nasalizing examples that native Japanese speakers do not have that issue makes it a bit annoying, even if Dogen does say that he's working on that side of his pronunciation. As for my actual progress, as you know, I have been doing a lot of minimal pair training. I am at 98% recognition. I sort of stopped doing that for the most part. I do just one session a week nowadays. So noticing pitch accent of new words I learn, that happens on every single word. I actually make sure that I do that. My partner is saying that my pronunciation and pitch accent is better. By how much? I don't really know. Since we're talking about pitch accent, I'll gonna lump grammar into this because, you know, lots of rules and stuff. I have been going through the Cure Dolly's YouTube grammar videos and found them actually extremely helpful. The way she explains things just made a number of concepts finally click for me. I'm about 2/3 through her video series and I'm watching one video a day most days. It's both a refresher and a clarifier for me, so I do find them very useful again and will continue until I finish the series. I gotta say that the last 3 months have been quite challenging. First, even though I have said that I made big steps forward, in many ways progress feels to be very slow at this stage. Second, I am but human and cannot help but compare myself to others, even if I know I shouldn't. Biggest question, as always, is how come I'm putting in so much time and effort and my progress seems so much slower than other people I know? That does take the biggest mental toll, and I'm actively working on stopping my thoughts flow in that direction the moment I notice that is happening, because if I do let it run, it does make me feel so far behind and really desperate. I've also been working on trying to wean myself away from social media and doom scrolling, with variable success, but great results when the success does happen. I might create a separate video talking about that if there is interest. Give me a shout if you are. Another issue that I've started encountering more recently is the insidious thought of, what is this all for? Why am I spending so much time of my life, to the exclusion of most other things, on learning the language? Why do I want to get to Japan so badly, and what is there waiting for me? You do need a card from time to time to remind yourself why this is all important, and sometimes I do forget what it is. These are, of course, signs of burnout, and the way I've dealt with that this time around was to scale down studies tremendously on certain weeks and try to find that carrot again. Really just going back to the conversation with my partner 2 years ago as to why we do want to move. Of course, looking up things that make seem being closer to that goal as well. Sometimes just remembering that being present and enjoying the process is the best thing you can do also, because life is happening right now instead of in 1, 2, 3 years' time when you are hoping that you would reach your goals. Talking of goals, there are a few things that I want for the next 3 months. So I want to be done with the pitch accent course, and the end is in sight. I am trying to do one video a day. Also finishing all of the Cure Dolly's videos. While these have been extremely helpful as a refresher and a reframer on how I think about certain grammar, less English and more Japanese would be helpful. I also want to read more books, so I'm hoping to read 5 to 6 books by the next update. And when I say books, I mean books, not manga volumes. I'm also seriously considering prepping for a JLPT exam. And this is me talking at 22 months, not 21 months, but, you know, since we are talking about goals. As that would be another step on the way to our move in Japan, to Japan, and as most jobs want to see at least N2 cert And so reading more books is definitely a good idea for that. I also want to continue our daily Japanese conversations. I hope that does not go away because it's so easy to lapse. I want to become better at producing coherent sentences. Just want to express myself finally in Japanese, you know? I don't know, maybe I should start journaling as well. I really don't want to. I'm not very good at keeping a journal in English. I've tried so many times, so many different systems, and I've stopped every single time, so I don't really want to be doing that in Japanese, but also, I just want to become fluent in Japanese by next update, okay? I know it's just wishful thinking. Don't worry, I know. Alright, you legends. Do let me know how to get fluent in the next 3 months in the comments. Don't disappoint me. But if you want to be accountable with your studies, enjoy my study with me streams. I do them Tuesday to Saturday. We can grind together, become a little bit better at Japanese every day. And hey, have a fantastic day, legends. Mata kondo ne. Bye bye.